Hi, welcome to today's video. My name is Paul. So this week you're going to see me doing a little bit of watercolor landscape painting, sort of loose, slightly spontaneous way of painting landscapes using watercolor. I'm going to talk about one of the influences that has helped me to develop this sort of style such as it is. So one of my favorite periods in art history is Impressionist and post-Impressionist period, so sort of second half of the 19th century, and they were influenced by Japanese art, specifically ukiyo-e, the Japanese woodblock prints. The Japanese art form that I'm influenced by is not ukiyo-e. It's a much older art form, and it's based on ink. It's ink painting rather than printing using woodblocks. On screen you can see a couple of examples. So on the left is a full painting, and then on the right is sort of zooming in some detail from another painting. This style of painting is called Hatsuboku. There's also Haboku. I'm not an expert in these things, so I'm not entirely sure what the difference is. But the style that influences me is usually referred to Hatsuboku. As I say, it's an ink-based painting technique. Some of the things that characterize this style is, well, the name itself, the Hatsuboku. The boku or moku is referring to the ink that they use, the black ink. And then the Hatsu part is, it can translate to English as like sprinkle or splash, that type of thing. It's the way they apply the ink. So they're using a combination of careful application mixed with more random sort of splashes and things like this. So it's that mixture of sort of controlled and uncontrolled. And the uncontrolled part leads to a bit of randomness, a bit of organic randomness that kind of resembles what we see in nature. Nature isn't very structured always. Things, trees, look at the way a tree grows. It's quite organic and somewhat unpredictable. So they're trying to capture that idea. And this is what the idea that I've sort of brought across to watercolor. So my watercolors don't look anything like these ink paintings. They're not meant to. When I say they're influenced by it, I don't mean I'm trying to copy this style. I'm just simply taking one of their ideas and trying to apply it to my own art style. So at the beginning, you maybe saw me sort of splashing some watercolor paint and things. Some of it's done quite carefully, but other things are just splash the paint and see what happens. So if we go back and watch me painting again, sort of bottom right corner of the paper, you can see some of the splashes that I'm talking about. But then you can see with this horizon line, I'm being a bit more careful. It's not just random. So it is this mixture of control and just random stuff, just splashing paint, see what happens. It is an interesting way to paint. It does produce quite loose paintings, and some people like myself are attracted to that sort of aesthetic. The loose painting style can be fresher. It can contain a bit more movement, if you like. The very tight, controlled, detailed way of painting watercolor, I don't really like that aesthetic so much. It can be I find it a bit overwhelming, and it's too tight, too controlled for me anyway. So this is a scan of that painting that I showed you. Is it the best painting you've ever done? No. But I say, not every painting is going to be your best painting. That's another thing to point out. Here's another one. This was done day after kind of thing. I prefer this one. It's more interesting. I've added a bit of sepia in with the blue in the sky. So it's Prussian blue that's quite watered down and some sepia added in. There's cadmium yellow light, indigo for the dark horizon, and that's about it. Just limited palette. Another thing that's worth pointing out with this style is there are the splashes, obviously, and the drips, they show through in the final painting. The painting is a mixture of representational and non-representational art. So it is representational. It is meant to be interpreted as a landscape, but it does contain these non-representational elements. So the splashes and drips and things like that, they don't represent anything in the real world. They're there purely for aesthetic reasons. And that will appeal to some people and not to others. So one of the bits of advice I've always given on this channel is, I think as artists we should really be exploring our own creativity, creating art for ourselves, rather than trying to please other people, creating art that has sort of mass appeal. That's my opinion. I know other people disagree. Some people say that my approach is sort of selfish art, and you'll see this idea on YouTube and other places. That's one criticism, but I definitely think that painting for yourself and exploring your own creativity and your own who you are as an artist is much more interesting than just painting stuff that you think other people will like, which is very it's only on the surface. It's not very deep, that approach, I think. That's my opinion. If you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching and listening, and hopefully see you again in 2 weeks' time.